Hello, who's your fans, who's your haters, and everyone in between. This is the Crimson Coliseum podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Indiana men's and women's basketball going to Atlantis and playing for that stuff, playing for the Battle for Atlantis. Also, IU men's soccer has been in the NCAA tournament, so we're going to talk about that too. So first, let's just uh I haven't been doing much with it outside of football just because football's been taking up everything. But we will get more into this now. Let's get right into this. 1 second. I have there. Okay, found it. What is today? Today's the 22nd. Fantastic. Okay, so first of all, let's look at IU women's basketball since they play first. So IU women's basketball has struggled this year. Flat out, they just have. 2-2 with losses against Harvard in overtime and at Butler. Winnable games. It hasn't been a great start to the season for Terry Morin's squad, but they do have a bounce back win against number 24 Stanford, 79-66. The big problem, the big problem is shooting, is offense. Defense hasn't been fantastic. They I think they are bottom five in points allowed at 63.5. They're fourth most. But points per game, they are last at 68.8. Free goal percentage, they're last at 42.2. 3-point percentage, they're bottom six at 31.1. Like, it's just been a struggle to start the year. Flat out. It has been. They got a good win against Stanford. They got to keep it going, though. As we look at Battle for Atlantis for the women's bracket, Indiana plays Columbia first on Saturday, on the 23rd. Then they'll play the winner of either play the winner if they win or the loser if they lose of Baylor and Southern Mississippi in the winners or losers bracket. If they lose the first game but win the second game, they'll be in the fifth and sixth place match. If they lose both, they'll be in the seventh and eighth place. If they win the first, lose the second, they'll be in the third and fourth. And if they win both, they'll be in the championship. And the teams they could play in those games are North Carolina, Ball State, Texas A&M, and Villanova. My honest prediction, Indiana women's basketball is going to beat Columbia, then lose to Baylor, because I believe, let me just see. Uh, 1 second. I need to see rankings real fast. Wait a minute, rankings. Sorry, I'm just making sure I have everything right. Baylor is ranked 18th in the country. It's not going to be an easy game. Can Indiana win? If their offense is where it needs to be, they can. I think they can easily. Not easily. I think it would be a fun game and a game they probably need to win to get back on track. But I'm going to lean towards Baylor here. And then after that, they'll be in the third and fourth place game, probably against. Trying to think here. I'm going to say Texas A&M, and they win. And third place, go 2-1, and have a little bit more confidence coming out of Battle for Atlantis. If we're looking at player wise, um, points per game leader is. Wait, no, that is men's. I keep going to the men's one, not the women's. Wait, no. Per game. Hold on. Yarden Garzone's leading the way points per game wise with 16, 45% from the field, 50% from three, 45, 50, and 100. Shooting splits, she's averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Lily Meister, 11 points, 7 rebounds, and an assist on 48, 44% from the field and 76% from the free throw line. That needs to get higher. I think that's a piece like Lily Meister needs to get better shooting. Assist wise, Shay's been leading the way with 3 assists, but also has 10 points, 2.5 rebounds, but it's 25% from three, which it needs to be better. She's supposed to be a 3-point shooter. She needs to be a lot better. Flat out. Jules has been doing pretty well um, as a backup. Sydney Parrish, not been great. 35% from the field, 15% from three. Ah, not great. Not great at all. They got to get better. They just flat out have to get better as we get into Battle for Atlantis and get into Big Ten play. I think they can. It's just going to be harder. Now, heading to Indiana, men's basketball. The men play a little bit later, I believe midweek. If I can get like a non-blurry picture of this bracket, that would be fantastic, actually. But I don't think I will. Oh, there we go. See, on the 27th, Indiana will play against Louisville, then face either West Virginia or Gonzaga. And then the final game is either Oklahoma, Providence, Davidson, or Arizona. I think that men's and women's basketball are going to have a very similar tournament run. Indiana is going to beat Louisville, which they've had a good. I'll talk about their season a little bit, but lose a close one to Gonzaga, and then I think they're going to beat Oklahoma in the third round, in the third game. Looking at men's basketball, they've had a very good start to the season. They're still running 16th. They're 16th, 4 straight wins, 4 double-digit wins. Beat South Carolina by 16, which is good to see. Power four opponent. Then UNC Greensboro. Close game. It's a little upsetting, but it just is what it is. But what's been really cooking for Indiana? Men's basketball, it's just been a good combination of both. They're top five in point differential at 20 points differential. 81 points, 81 and a half points per game, which is ninth. And it's 61 points per game defensively, which is sixth. Field goal percentage is third at 51%. And the 3-point percentage is eighth at 36%, which is better than what it's been. And the free throw percentage is 80%, which is third, that big of a free throw change is going to be massive. Rebound wise, that needs to get a lot better. 40 rebounds per game, solid, but it's ninth. And then assists, Indiana has 18, which is sixth. Looking at player wise, leading the way for Indiana is Mackenzie Mbako, 18.8 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2 assists on 58% from the field, 53% from three, 92% from the free throw line. Miles Rice, 14, nearly 15 points on 58% from the field, 46% from three, and also 92% from the free throw line. Will also get 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Well, actually, no. 3.5 rebounds and 4.5 assists. Omar Ballo is averaging 12 points on 70% from the field, nearly 60% from the free throw line, which you like to see, as well also getting just 10 rebounds per game. The guy that surprised me a little bit, Bryson Tucker, 8 points, 50% from the field, hasn't made a three yet, hasn't attempted. I don't think he's attempted many, but 85% from the free throw line. Mid range is just there. Kenny Carlisle is probably the one that's struggling the most of the starters offensively, but defensively, he's been picking it up there. But Trey Galloway has improved a lot. Even though he's on the bench, 5.5 points, 54% for the field, 66% from three, 80% from the free throw line, but 5.2 assists. You love to see the 5 assists off the bench. Also, Malik Renew, too. Got to shout out him. 13.5 points per game, 51% from the field, 20% from three, but hasn't taken many. And 80%, 86% for the free throw line. 6.5 rebounds, 2 assists. You love to see it. Still 3 fouls per game, which don't love to see, really, but you'll get there. I think Indiana's had a strong start to the season for the men's basketball team, and they'll continue going forward. Offensive rebounding was a struggle last night. A lot of that has to be with boxing out. I think they gotta box out better. That's the biggest weakness with this team. It's been that way for a while. They improved the free throw shooting. They improved the 3-point shooting. Louisville's going to shoot a lot of threes in this first game. Just looking at, just going to look at their stats real fast. They're 2-1. They're a 42% 3-point shooting team. And they've attempted 110 3-point shots in 3 games, which that's nearly 40 a game. That's Indiana's got to box out. They just have to. And it was not a great performance last night. Just flat out wasn't. Well, Indiana has 70. That's just the main difference. But yeah. Also, going back to Omar Ballo, he's also averaging 3 blocks a game. So you take that. And then last but not least, Indiana men's soccer is in the NCAA tournament and they have a seed. So they're in, if you're looking at the bracket, they're in the upper right quadrant. And the first games have already happened. Akron beat so Indiana's bracket, they're the 14th seed. So they have Denver, Gardner Webb, Oregon State, Akron, Princeton themselves in this little quadrant. Gardner Webb beat Oregon State 1-0, and Akron beat Princeton 1-0. So Indiana's going to be facing Akron on Sunday at noon. And then Denver's facing Gardner Webb, and Denver's the 3 seed. They did not do well in the Big Ten tournament. They could have really improved their seed with a better Big Ten tournament run. But on the other side of that little quadrant, number 11 Virginia is hosting West Virginia. That's going to be an interesting game. And then Penn is hosting Massachusetts. Another interesting game. Dang it, Evansville. Evansville lost. Dang it to Massachusetts. I would have loved to see IU versus Evansville. It's going to be really hard to see. But I think Indiana can have it is a possible tournament run. They got to beat Akron. Maybe Gardner Webb wins, and Indiana's hosting again. Maybe some chaos happens, and we're going back to the College Cup. Looking at the other brackets, so it's Ohio State versus Western Michigan, UC Santa Barbara versus Stanford. Number 1 Ohio State hosting Western Michigan, UC Santa Barbara going to Stanford, the 16th seed. Number 9 Clemson hosting Providence. Number 8 Wake Forest hosting Maryland. Number 5 Dayton hosting Michigan. Number 12 SMU hosting Washington. Number 13 Marshall hosting Furman. Number 4 Georgetown hosting NC State. Number 2 Pittsburgh hosting Cornell. Number 15 Missouri State hosting Kansas City. Number 10 Duke hosting San Diego. And number 7 Hofstra facing Vermont. So that's going to be a fun tournament. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube channel platforms. And ask you, how do you feel about Battle for Atlantis NCAA tournament for soccer?